you look at it, this has been a transformative generation. How do I mean that? Well, first of all, if you think about when baby boomers were little babies, there are about 4 of them per mother in the United States. There were a lot of mouths to feed, and those mothers got really tired of homemade baby food. So as infants, we had a job to fill, and so a company called Gerber came along and fulfilled it. When they were teeny boppers, they got a taste for salt, fat, and sugar. So fast food became popular, and this became a major international brand. When they were student activists and they turned against the chrome-laden, overweight vehicles of Detroit, it wasn't going to be GM, so Toyota, Datsun, and VW made market movements in the United States and Canada. When they were yuppies and they started thinking about maybe I'm getting a little bit of a middle-age spread here, fitness became important. Jim Fixx and other noteworthy people led the movement, and that company was born, Nike. In middle age, a lot of baby boomers became more sophisticated with coffee. I had my first taste of really good coffee in Vancouver at a place called Starbucks, started by Howard Schultz, a baby boomer. So, as aging adults, what's going to be the big power brand? Diapers? Tough audience. I actually can't tell you what it's going to be, but I can tell you that the theme is going to be freedom. So good news for Canadian tourism, as long as you get that Canadian dollar a little lower compared to the American dollar, you guys are going to just see tons of us baby boomers coming to your country. Well, as you've probably picked up on today, there's a couple of narratives going on about the future of aging. One is called the generational tempest narrative. And that basically is that social insurance is unsustainable with the aging of boomers plus. That'd be boomers and everybody else older. You've probably been hearing that a lot. In fact, Larry Kotlikoff pointed out that the unfunded liabilities to the infinite horizon is $211 trillion. The U.S. is effectively bankrupt and in danger of becoming a second-tier city. I mean country, not city. And in the marketplace for medical advancements, it is written that it will increase in cost as this generation ages. So, Medicare and Social Security and social insurance is fiscal child abuse. Those are heavy words. Well, I'm going to give a little pushback here with this guy by the name of Warren Buffett. Now, this is a quote taken. This isn't something he wrote, so it's a quote the way he spoke it. I'll read it to you. We've made certain promises that promise away a portion of the pie. But the wonderful thing is that the pie gets larger. Even if 1% per year real productivity growth per capita, we double the GDP in per capita in real terms in 75 years when the Social Security projections go up. So even though seniors may get more of the pie will grow enough so that everybody will get more of the pie. Let me put this in concrete terms. Larry Kotlikoff and Scott Burns, in their book, The Clash of Generations, said that the GDP in 2030 was projected to be $23 trillion, and social insurance will be $3 trillion, meaning that there's a 13% GDP that social insurance will take up of GDP. Now, if you check with the Center for Economics and Business Research and the World Economic League, they predict that the GDP in 2030 will be $33.15 trillion in the U.S. So if social insurance still held at $3 trillion represents 9% of GDP. So how big's the pie going to get? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, there's one thing else about the baby boom generation that I would tell these people, these economists, who are so gloom and doomy about what's going to happen. Don't underestimate the baby boomers. Now, for some of you who might remember that song, that was one of the most popular anti-Vietnam War protest songs by John Fogerty. Interesting how the words kind of match up with this narrative. This generation just does not sit back and take the norm as a given. So I have what I offer you to think about is the transformation narrative, a different viewpoint. First of all, economists have been underwhelming in their ability to predict major transformations. Show me an economist who, in writing in 1975, predicted that in 1985 desktop computers were going to take over and create a new industry, software, hardware, and everything associated with that. Or show me an economist who, in 1985, 10 years later, predicted that this thing called the Internet was going to change everything about global business. Let me know if you know any of those people. Well, the boomers have been at the center of the microcomputer and the Internet revolution. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Tim Berners-Lee, who is credited for inventing the HTML, or hypertext markup language. Boomers also changed the sociology and culture around racial, gender, and sexual identity and equality. So it stands to reason that the boomers are going to change the narrative and the sociology around aging. It seems logical to me. And Jim Carroll touched on this, but there's going to be a convergence of technologies. It's called post-humanism. It's the coming together of genetic, robotic, information, and nanotechnologies that are going to change the way we think about aging overnight. And finally, I believe that the marketplace to take care of all these aging adults is going to decrease. But that's a social decision. I'm a social constructionist. I believe we create our social reality. We do not have to pay more, 20% more this year for drugs that were invented 15 years ago next year.